Alright, welcome back everyone. And we're going to be looking at more of my friends' OCs and my headcanons for them. And a special one at the end, I guess you could say. These characters are created by my good friend Packet W4 Production. The characters he created are Earl, Alan, and Scottish John. We're going to be taking a look at them and my headcanons for them. And a special one at the end. It's going to be a fourth headcanon, but we're going to have to wait and see. Anyways, let's start this off with Earl. The LNER D40. So, Earl is created by Packet W4 Production, and he decided to make him a D40 because I guess we want a D40 on Sodor. So his headcanons for these guys is that when they first arrive, they were often picked upon by the bigger engines for being quite little. And when they were sent back, they were in the war, and so Captain bought them, and they became the numbers 25, 26, and 27. I will be going with these numbers for my use. I'll get into that, okay? My headcanon for Earl is that, well, I guess you could say that he kind of gets his name from Sir Robert Normanby, the Earl of Sodor. I guess that's probably where his name comes from. Earl is a kind engine, always there to help out others in need. He even shuts his own trains and doesn't complain about it. And he even helps other engines up the hill, just like Edward. He doesn't let the other engines' rude comments or insults get to him. He would just hear it and ignore it for the most part. Right. Now, in my headcanon, he works on the Kirk Ronan branch line. You know, hauling passengers and mixed traffic goods from time to time. Feeling very proud that he can call the railway his home. Right. Now we move on to the next character. Alan, the LNER J11. Now, like I said, Alan is a J11, and just like the others, you should know the story with these guys. You may notice that he has a leading axle. My headcanon for this, besides the fact that he uses a James, is that in my AU, is that the LNER were trying to compete with the Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway because they were modifying one of their Class 28s to be a 260, or two of their Class 28s to be 260s. Basically James and Eagle. So in my headcanon, the LNER did the same thing for Alan, and it was something like it worked. But he was a little too heavy for the tracks that the J11s used, so they could not go on the line anymore. Kind of like Team Zug's OC Gerald, by the way. So he was, and because of this, he was transferred. And that's where he met Earl and Scottish John. I'll get into Scottish John in a little bit. Alan is a bit of a quiet engine in my. But occasionally he does speak every once in a while. Like, he only speaks to the ones that he's closest with, like Earl and Scottish John. And in my AU, he works on the little Western and as a passenger engine. Some people can often mistake him for James because of him having a leading axle like him. He does get a little ticked off by this, but not insanely ticked off. He doesn't let it annoy him that much. And sometimes he just laughs it off with the passengers. And he even tells them that he and James and Eagle are not siblings. He is a J11, and James and Eagle are Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway at Class 28. So there's a huge difference. He is very proud to work on the Little Western and make friends with all the engines on there. Now we move on to the final character, Scottish John, the LNER J36. Now then, let's get into Scottish John and my headcanon for him. Scottish John, like I said, is a J36. And don't mistake this class of engine for Donald and Douglas. It's because, just to let you know, Donald and Douglas are A12s, while Scottish John's a J36. And the J36s are slightly similar to the A12s, just with slimmer boilers. I believe so. And I guess you could say for these guys, is when they arrived, Toppa made them choose between would you rather have would you rather have numbers or just stay the way they are? And they just pick numbers, and they just feel proud of it. It to be numbers 25, 26, and 27. My idea for him is that he works near Krovinsky. He taking local goods from there, and sometimes he will be given a passenger train to pull. Scottish John feels proud of this. It's always making and greeting faces with everyone. I can call the island of Sodor his home like every other. And that's my headcanons for those guys. Now you may be wondering, what's the fourth headcanon? You're looking at him. Yeah, I'm gonna be headcanning myself. So, let's get into it. So, my headcanon for myself is that Topham brought me over to the island of Sodor because he wanted to trial me to see what a blue A12 on his railway would be like, considering that his other ones, Donald and Douglas, are still in black. Proved successful to him, and he made me a proud member of his railway, but the only thing is that he did not want to put me on the Little Western because, let's face it, having 3 A12s on the Little Western sounds like overkill at the highest order. Doesn't it? So he decided to make me a member of the Brendan branch. I work there as both a passenger engine and a mixed traffic engine. And when someone is often feeling depressed just over getting a job they don't like, I would often offer to swap with them to get the jobs to give them the jobs they want. They would be extremely grateful towards me for this. And when Bill and Ben would try to play their pranks on me, I would just tell them that I know what they're about to do. And sometimes they prank me, and sometimes they don't. Just as twins usually do, I suppose. You can expect a few bickering on the Brendan branch from time to time, but everyone ended the day with resolving their quarrels. They couldn't if they tried, but me and Edward became quite the mediator. Quite the mentors. Everyone is extremely grateful to see me on the Brendan branch and can call me a proud member of their line. And there you go. My headcanons for Earl, Alan, Scottish John, and myself. Let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!